Thank you so much, Liz. Well, good morning and welcome to the Sunday morning service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. Whether you are here in person or making community via Zoom, welcome and know that you are enough. We need you, and we are grateful you are here. My name is Cathy Cánepa, and I'm a member of the Sunday Service Committee. Before that, she was from Hamilton, Ontario. Anne was an office employee, and as such, it will come as no surprise that she enjoys organizing things, as well as social endeavors such as lunches out and gatherings to watch TV. And she has already jumped in regularly to help our membership committee. Now, is Anne here today? Oh, okay, she's still in Canada. We have a picture, Diego.
She is. Is she?
There she is. Take a look, our new member, Anne Downey, and when she gets here, please greet her. Now, do we have any visitors here today? And if you would you please stand just for a minute? And someone will come around with the microphone. We just want to know what is your name and where you are from.
My name is Betsy Ahlers, and Bill Elwood and I are from Minneapolis.
Jesse and Bill from Minneapolis.
Betsy.
Bethany.
Betsy.
Betsy. Welcome.
They're part of our Zoomers.
Hi, I'm Ursi Potter from McLean, Virginia, Washington, D.C. area. I've just rented a house for a year in Vega.
Okay, and what is your name, please?
Ursi Potter.
Ursi Potter. Welcome, and you've just rented a house here. Great. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Bonita Woods. I'm Ursi's daughter. Normally I live on a mountain in Maine, and I thought this winter it would be more fun to be with my mom in San Miguel.
Wonderful.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raya Bradford, and I come with my friend Nora from Corvallis, Oregon, and I will only be here for 9 days. And I just got here last night, so this is my first.
Wonderful. Raya from Oregon and Nora, hi, welcome home.
Hi, my name is Paula Foster. My husband and I live here in San Miguel now for 4 years. We are from San Francisco, and we love this whole congregation. We love this whole vibe.
And I have been spoken for. I'm Cliff.
Okay, that is Paula and her husband who have been spoken for from San Francisco. Welcome. I'm sorry, what?
From San Miguel.
Oh, well, from San Miguel now. Okay.
My name is Harold Dean James. I've been here before.
You sure have. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
My name is Doug Zachary. I'm from Austin, Texas, originally from the Valley in California, born to a migrant family, brought up in Dallas, but worked with the Austin Peace and Justice Coalition for some 30-odd years. I attended UU meetings there. We utilized their building and other facilities and their membership to launch the living wage movement in Austin, Texas. I've always been really impressed with how UU goes right to the heart of the matter, intellectuality coupled with the wisdom of the heart.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. I think you all know me. I'm Jeannie Seward McGee, and I've just arrived 2 days ago with my husband, John, from Vancouver and Bowen Island, British Columbia. So, lovely to see you all again.
Thank you. That was Jeannie Seward McGee, who's just gotten back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Judy Holden from San Miguel for the last 23 years. I've visited many times, but today I'm signed on for membership.
Welcome. Okay, this is wonderful, and everybody please notice who are, oh, we have another visitor.
Thank you. I'm Eric Miranda. I live here in San Miguel, but I was raised in Michoacan State. And I live in Atlanta, Georgia for a long time, so first time here. Oh. Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome. Okay. Just an important announcement for everybody about all of our 35 and thriving fun and fundraising events. Today and every Sunday after this, sign-ups are available before and after the service and via Diana Amaya's email. These are multiple different gatherings of all type, community gatherings and fundraising. Finally, everybody please check your order of service or our website, UUFSMA.org. And you can see the various events, small groups we sponsor, how to access our YouTube channel, and information on how to become a member.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Tom Rosiello, the minister of this fellowship, and it's so good to be with you in person and on Zoom again this morning. I'll emphasize what Cathy said about all our 35 5th anniversary events, including the T-shirts that are over there. So take a look at the tables when you go. There's lots of fun to be had. As we do every week, we come together in this sacred time, this hour that's so special to us, by lighting a flame in our chalice and sharing words that remind us of the deep meaning of this action. And Cathy will join me in those words in just a minute. Sometimes the way is dark, and it takes a beacon of light to guide us on our journey.
A veces el camino es oscuro y se necesita un faro de luz para guiarnos en nuestro viaje.
We light our chalice today as a symbol of the light that burns in each of us and guides us on our way.
Encendemos hoy nuestro cáliz como símbolo de la luz que arde dentro de cada uno y nos guía en nuestro camino.
We light this chalice together in community to recognize that by sharing our light, we too can help others on their journey.
Encendemos este cáliz juntos en comunidad para reconocer que al compartir nuestra luz, también podemos ayudar a otros en su viaje.
As individuals and as a community, we are committed to let our light shine, to bring comfort, love, and support to others, and to help to create a better, more just, more caring world.
Como individuo y como comunidad, estamos comprometidos a dejar que nuestra luz brille para brindar consuelo, amor y apoyo a los demás y ayudar a crear un mundo mejor, más justo y más fraternal.
Let us now rise if you're here in person or just as and after we sing our hymn, which is 118, then you'll remain standing for the covenant, which Cathy will lead you in both English and Spanish. So this little light of mine, it's going to appear on the screen. It's also 118 in your hymnal, and let's get a little bit of energy going here. Liz? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go.
Please join me in reciting this fellowship's unique covenant, first in English and then in Spanish. And we've had a request that we go a little bit slower as we do this. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant. Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Please be seated. We now enter into a very sacred time in our service, a time when members and friends share significant joys, sorrows, and concerns with their community. And for each of those, we light a candle, indicating that that person, or that thought, or that prayer is present in this service with us this morning. If you wish to have something shared at this time in a future service, please email it to me. And if you're on Zoom now and you would like to share in the chat, you may go ahead and type in any joy, sorrow, or concern you have now. We're going to light our first candle as one that's sending out healing wishes to SkyMed on Monday to Santa Rosa, California, where she'll have surgery. I spoke to her yesterday by phone, and she's in good spirits, and I know that our care team is ready to provide some help for her when she returns. Our second candle is one of concern from Cliff Durant, who reminds us that we just passed the 60th anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and this candle is one of concern for the present dangers of nuclear war. A candle of caring and concern for Leah Roth, a friend and sometimes attender of our UU Fellowship, who took a bad fall and broke her hip. She has been at Sophie Cares in Los Frailes until yesterday when she was discharged. And she told me when I visited her there how much she appreciated all that the members of our fellowship are doing for her, particularly Francoise. I'd like to light a candle of remembrance for Maria Guadalupe, who passed away a week ago. She's the mom of a wonderful person here at the Aldea who helps coordinate our using this facility here. So, in memory of Maria Guadalupe. And we've done each week since the unjust and unprovoked war in Ukraine began, we light a candle for all those who suffer because of this war and because of war anywhere in the world. And finally, a candle for all those joys, sorrows, and concerns that are held deep in our heart and remain unspoken today. And I'm going to try, and we'll see how this works, take a quick look and see if we have some in chat that I can read to you. Okay, let's see. Welcome back, Harold. We did that. Welcome back, Nora Cohen. Welcome back, Jeannie McGee. And yay, Jeannie, I think I've got them all. Let me just go up here. Okay, that's it. And we always, after our joys and concerns, take a time to reflect, to take that in, and also to connect to a place of spiritual depth. And we're going to do that by song today. And Miguel, Ángel, our wonderful tech person, is going to help lead the Spanish part while I lead you in the English. It's one of our most well-known hymns. It's number 123, Spirit of Life. The words will appear on the screen in both English and in Spanish. So as you're able, you can actually remain seated for this and keep it in a more meditative spirit. Liz?
Sing Good morning. I'm Jurgen Ahlers. I'm a member of the Social Action team. Maybe I should bring this up a little bit. I'm getting a signal that you can hear me better. As many of you know, once every quarter, instead of our regular offering, we have our so-called Blue Plate Special, which means that we support a very worthy cause that is not part of our regular giving to our NGOs that we definitely want to support and will support continuously in our broader community. This morning's Blue Plate Special is going to be for the Tikun Eco Center that some of you may already be familiar with. On Earth Sunday this last April, we had Ben Zion Patashnik and Victoria Collier give us a presentation on this incredible life-transforming 3 hectares of depleted and arid land into a lush, regenerative permaculture paradise. Just about 6 weeks ago, some of you had the opportunity to come to Tikon and see for yourself what they have done with this space of land that was just basically dry desert, which became a regenerative environment with fruit trees, all sorts of vegetables, and of course the reservoir. You may already have heard of one of Ben and Victoria's present endeavors in planting a little over 1,000, about 1,500 tree saplings near the newly restored reservoir. About 1,000 of these trees were donated by the Ecologia, or the city's Department on Environment and Sustainability. Another roughly 250 privately donated trees, which are slightly larger than the saplings donated by the Ecologia, have also been brought and are being planted, all to provide what within a few years will become an abundant forest. And in the middle of this forest will be a magnificent, I guess for lack of a better word, it'll be a kind of a gazebo with grilling capacities for the villagers surrounding this area to enjoy. I'm sure that you're wondering now how in the world Ben and Victoria will be able to place all those trees. Well, just a couple of Saturdays ago, Cliff Durand and I had the opportunity to go and just to help plant a few trees. We were very pleasantly surprised to see how many of the local villagers and some students that were recruited by the university were planting, digging holes, putting in the compost, planting the sapling, putting in more compost, and then over that mulch. It was really an exciting time for us to see. So, well, this morning, we're going to have the pleasure with one of our quarterly Blue Plate Specials to help with a very, very important element of this ambitious tree planting project. You surely have heard of the extremely rapid infestation of the lirio, the water hyacinth that is plaguing our presa. The problem began last year with the monsoon rains, very heavy rains, the extended rain season, and you all probably have seen the rapid development of the lirio. This year it was not helped because we again had an overabundance of rain, And so what to do with all this lyria? Well, Ben and Victoria did some experimenting with lyria and the compost, or basically the soil that was extracted from the reservoir. They had over 1,000 full of truckloads extract the soil that over the years had been seeped into this reservoir, so that the water for the people of the villages was only about this deep. It should have been 18 feet deep. Well, they brought all that black soil up, mixed that with the lyria, and it became good, rich, fertile compost. So for the tree planting, they have used this and are using this, but they need our help for the backhoe and for the truck that will bring the lyria from the presa to Ticon, and the tree planting continues. So this is our special for today. For those of you who are on Zoom, we would ask that, that you dig a little deeper and perhaps go to our website, UUFSMA.org. There's a donate button, click it, and please be generous. The offering this morning will proceed and be very gratefully received. Thank you.
De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why birds fly beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't
Did you know that song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, was almost cut from the movie because some thought it too depressing? Boy, were those movie guys wrong about that. I think it's a song that has lifted the spirits of untold numbers of kids and adults over the years. It's more than just the words and even the music of the song. When you see that Dorothy singing it, you feel the innocence of a child, the spirit of a child. In today's service, I'm asking you, no matter your age, to engage with the spirit of a child. Okay, you don't have to totally check your adult brain at the door. We're going to use that a bit later to engage with the wonderful children's story that's the theme of today's service. But I invite you to enter in today's message with the spirit, the wonder, the imagination, the unbounded freedom of a child. Let your mind experience the story again as you did as a child, and to remind us not only to do so, but also of the blessing to be found in doing so. I invite you now to join in singing hymn number 388, I Seek the Spirit of a Child. The words will appear on the screen in a minute, and please stand as you are able.
I seek the spirit of a child, the child who meets life naturally, the child who sings the world alive and greets the morning sun with glee. Children are real beyond all art. May I see joy's a gift to our heart. I seek the freedom of a child who loves instinctively, who lights our day with just a smile and shines that light on all we see. Children are real beyond all fears. May I see hope's a gift to our tears. I seek the wonder of a child who sees delightfully. Now clouds in cloud, now golden sun, imagination true and free. Children are real beyond all eyes. May I see faith's a gift to our eyes.
Please be seated. Well, today's service, as you've surely figured out by now, is based on that great children's story of one of the greatest of all time, surely, The Wizard of Oz. You know, the book, The Wizard of Oz, was written in 1900 by Frank Baum, and the movie, The Wizard of Oz, was released in 1939 based on that book. And I'm sure someone's going to ask me, which are you preaching on? Well, the answer is both, but more, I think, on the movie, and you'll see why. I don't know how many times I've seen the movie, at least 40 or 50, maybe more. I confess I still have both the VCR and the DVD, and even find myself watching the outtakes that are at the end. I read the book as a child, and I recently treated myself to the beautiful, fully annotated Centennial edition. For 16 years, I had a Toto, a can terrier who looked exactly like the dog in the movie. Okay, it's a bit over the top. And what about you? How many of you have either read the book or seen the movie? Pretty much everybody, okay? How many more than once? Pretty much everybody. How many even as an adult? Pretty much everybody. Okay, well, you're being honest, good. I don't want to hear that you just dutifully sat through it while your child or grandchildren made you watch it. I know that's not true. It's one of the best loved movies of all times and continues to have appeal to all ages. Now, if anyone hasn't seen it or read it, or if your memory's grown a bit dim, very briefly, you know it's the story of an orphan girl, Dorothy, living in drab Kansas with her poor farming aunt and uncle. In the book, it's about all we see of Kansas before we're off to Oz. But in the movie, and here's the big difference, we see much more. We see Dorothy has friends, neighbors there, 3 neighbors, who support her. And we see Elmira Gulch, that evil neighbor who tries to take away and destroy the only thing Dorothy really has, really loves, her dog Toto. When you watch the movie, as opposed to the book, you soon catch on that these Kansas characters transform into Oz characters. In the book, a tornado comes and literally takes Dorothy and the farmhouse to Oz. In the movie, Dorothy is evidently knocked out by some flying debris from the tornado, and in her unconscious state, all that happens in Oz is a dream. She's never physically left Kansas in the movie. Essentially, the movie makes the story more than a fairy tale. Dorothy is working through the troubles of her life in her dream, in her unconscious state. I think it's a Jungian field day for dream analysis. In Oz, or in her dream, Dorothy yearns for a better place, and she is on a journey to find it. It's a deep spiritual journey of following the yellow brick road. But she's not traveling the journey alone. There are fellow seekers who travel with her, and they're looking for something different, each of them, yet they're walking together. There are so many challenges along the way, and encounters with some good advice too. The travelers help each other to meet the challenges and to better understand each other's story. In Oz, we meet the lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow, of course, all seeking something, wishing for something they believe that they lack. You know how it goes. If I only, as the lion sings, had courage, or as the Tin Man proclaims, if I only had a heart. And finally, as we will now hear, the Scarecrow pines, if I only had a brain.
You see, sat a scarecrow swinging on a pole to a blackbird sitting on a fence. Oh, the Lord gave me a soul, but forgot to give me common sense.
Said a blackbird, well, 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 what in thunder would you do with common sense?
Said the scarecrow, 'twould be pleasing just to reason out the reason of the witchness and the whiness and the whence. If I had an ounce of common sense.
Why, shucks! What would you do, Scarecrow?
I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching. If I only had a brain, I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain.
With the thoughts you'd be thinking, you could be another Lincoln if you only had a brain.
Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore. I could think of things I never thunk before, and then I'd sit and think some more. I would not be just a nuffin', my head all full of stuffin', my heart all full of pain. I would dance and be merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy if I only had a brain. Gosh, it would be awful pleasing to reason out the reason for things I can't explain. Then perhaps I deserve ya and be even worthier of ya if I only had a brain. If I only had a brain.
Do you feel a little bit like a child? Good. I want to start the sermon here with a confession. I love children's movies and books. And as we approach the Day of the Dead here in Mexico, I've got to get myself to see Disney's movie Coco again, which, through the eyes of a child, really gives us a much better sense of the meaning of the holiday than any scholarly theological dissertation I've ever read. So I commend that to you for homework. I've always gone to children's movies, and often with one of my nieces, and I'm actually a bit sad. Both my nieces are now teenagers, and I've lost my really good excuse to do so. Perhaps that leads you to think of me as a bit juvenile and my literary taste a bit daffy, but maybe you're right. But often I find great meaning in children's stories. I can't wait for our kids to be back with us here so we can share some. And I can't think of any story for which that's more true than The Wizard of Oz. The story has been read to contain all kinds of allegorical meaning. You know, if you go online, you can find all kinds of interpretations of the story. There are conservative Christian sermons that see the wizard as the all-powerful, fear-invoking God of Hebrew Scripture and the Emerald City as his throne in heaven. Now, for those, I have to say, I think they didn't watch the whole movie. They must have gone to the kitchen for a snack during the scene when Toto pulls back the curtain, revealing the wizard is humbug. The most fascinating commentary I think that I read was a political commentary by Henry Littlefield, where this historian and sociologist convincingly argues that The Wizard of Oz is an allegorical telling of the struggle of the populist movement in the United States. So it seems to me that what you find in The Wizard of Oz is certainly influenced by what you bring to it. And I'm sure that's true today for my interpretation as well. There's something in that movie I think that resonates in each of us. Put another way, there's a bit of Dorothy in each of us, and I dare say that most of us have been the Scarecrow, or the Tin Man, or the Lion, or all of them. We've asked the question they asked, and have confronted the obstacles they encountered. The Wizard of Oz is the story of a great journey. I see Dorothy's journey as a spiritual journey, and the issues she faces along the way as fundamental religious questions that help us to understand our human condition. The yellow brick road is a path of faith, not a straight path, but one with lots of curves and obstacles and decisions to be made along the way. The opening words of Baum's book paint a bleak picture of Dorothy's home life. In the movie, you remember Auntie Em and Uncle Henry dismiss Dorothy's concerns and have little time for her in the busy life of running a struggling farm. Life in Kansas is hard. And who can forget the scene in the movie where that wicked Elmira Gulch, soon to become the Wicked Witch of the West, comes to take Dorothy's only happiness, as I mentioned, Toto. Dorothy runs away from home because she can't stay. She has to save Toto. She has to save herself. She feels she no longer belongs in this place, and who can blame her? I suspect that every one of us has at some time felt like running away from somewhere or something, and maybe you did. Perhaps it was from home as a teenager. Lord knows it feels like parents don't understand much of anything when you're that age. Perhaps it was from a job that you hated, or from a difficult person. Maybe it was more serious, a medical diagnosis, or maybe an abusive relationship. Maybe it was depression or low self-esteem. You know, sometimes there's no choice, at least for a time, to run away. When we're faced with these situations, as Dorothy and her friends were, we too undoubtedly ponder, if only things had been different, if only I'd gone to a better school, if only my parents were different people, if only I'd married the right person, if only my parents spent more time with me, if only I was smarter in math, if only I was not so shy. We may think a new place to call home, a new job, new friends, that's where I'll find what I need. We dream. We speculate on how it might have been, if only. Dorothy dreams of a place where there isn't any trouble, a place where dreams really do come true. It's the place over the rainbow. And you can't get there by boat or train. Who among us hasn't yearned for a place where there's no trouble, no illness, no family arguments, no boring jobs? There's a deep spiritual longing expressed in that famous song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So often I think we can feel like we don't fit in. Dorothy is looking for a place where she will be welcome as who she is. She thinks she must go elsewhere to find what she needs. You know, it's not surprising that this movie has found very broad appeal over the years in the gay community. Do you remember the words that the Cowardly Lion sang in the movie? Let me give them to you. Life is sad, believe me, missy, when you're born to be a sissy. Now that's not too subtle, is it? Embedded in this movie is all sorts of stuff. There's a sort of liberation theology, or you might say that the forces of the universe side with the oppressed. The oppressed have the power within them, and they can claim their own freedom. That's all there. There's even, I think, a feminist theology. Think of the women characters in the movie for a minute. Their strength, their good advice in meeting the challenges as compared to the fraud of the wizard. And there's certainly a glimpse, or more than a glimpse, into what has become known as queer theology. The movie does not portray the stereotypical image of what it means to be male. The Tin Man is always crying and rusting himself. The gentleness of the lion and the scarecrow. Not all that many years ago, within the gay community, identifying someone as, quote, a friend of Dorothy was the coded, safe way of saying to another gay person that they were gay. And when there was an open gathering of gay men, the expression, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, was often heard. It was a sigh of relief that they had escaped, at least for a time, the gray, like candleless and colorless, remember the movie in the beginnings in black and white? Life, for them, of living in a closet. In Provincetown, where there's a large gay community, there's a wonderful film festival every June. Award-winning films from around the world are shown. And one night, in the big town hall, it's packed with a sing-along Wizard of Oz. People come dressed as the characters, and as the movie is shown, the audience joins in the dialogue and the songs. The movie speaks to them about their journey of coming to know and accept themselves. And by the way, if you do a little investigation of the history as to why the rainbow was selected as the gay pride flag, you're going to find a lot about the song Judy Garland sang for us, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, having a major influence in that decision. Well, let's go back to the story. We left with Dorothy running away. She and Toto soon meet Professor Marvel, later to become the Wizard of Oz, and she comes to the realization that she can't run away, that she has to go back to what's real, back to the drab, gray Kansas and imperfect family. But sometimes going home is not easy, and it certainly wasn't for Dorothy. Dorothy's entire adventure in Oz is about coming home, not just or really to Kansas, but coming home to know herself. As Dorothy is traveling on her journey to find what she believes she needs to go home, she meets three wonderful characters: the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. And each of them is on a religious quest to find what they think they really need. All those characters think they are lacking something very important. They're on a quest for something that they're sure that they don't have, something that will be so fundamental in their life that if they could find it, they would be whole. They would be complete as individuals. If I only had a brain, if I only had a heart, if I only had courage. But if you remember carefully, all the while the Scarecrow, as you saw, is looking for a brain, he displays his intellectual power and good judgment time and time again. And all the while the Lion is looking for courage, he's able to go into the Wicked Witch's castle to save Dorothy, even though he may get killed. And the Tin Man, without a heart, shows compassion at every step along the journey. And what about Dorothy? She has the ability to go back to Kansas anytime by clicking together those famous slippers. By the way, in the original story, they're silver, not ruby. They only become ruby to take care of Technicolor, which just came into the movie world. But she doesn't go. She doesn't. She has not yet come to understand that she can. So often the religious journey is about finding within yourself what you thought you were lacking. The message to each of the characters and to all of us is that you have what you need. It's not in some faraway place. It's not under the control of some other person or force. You have what you need to be whole. This is a fundamental religious teaching in many traditions. The lesson that Dorothy and her three friends ultimately learned and that empowers them to live to their fullest potential is really the same message that's expressed in a passage from the Christian Gospel of Luke. In the Luke story, we're told that Jesus instructs the Pharisees. And you remember the Pharisees are the influential class who are supposed to possess great understanding of things. When asked where the kingdom of God is, he said, "It's not some place where you can go observe or go to, but the kingdom of God is within you." This Gnostic Christian message tells us essentially the very same thing that Frank Baum tells us in his children's stories. You have what you need. Look inside yourself and find it. And it's not just in Christianity that we find the message. If you perhaps feel more at home in the philosophies and theologies of the East, how about this from the Tao Te Ching? Without going outside, you may know the whole world. Without looking through the window, you may know the ways of heaven. The sage arrives without traveling. We have what we need. The kingdom is within us. Sounds easy, but it's not. That's why the journey comes in. You must follow the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road has many curves and perils along the way, places where there are forks in the road, and it's unclear which way to go. And no doubt on the way you'll be tested. And it's often during those tests that you begin to discover your hidden gifts. That's what happened, if you think about it, with the lion and the scarecrow and the Tin Man. But even when they display courage and love and intelligence, they were not yet still ready to see it in themselves. Sometimes it takes a major event. Sometimes we're given a test, if you will, a major challenge. For Dorothy and her companions, you'll remember what it was in the movie? It was to deliver the broom of the witch to the wizard. It can be something that seems very difficult and impossible, but to others it may be a rather minimal thing. Do you remember what the wizard said when he described the dangerous task to them? It's a very small task. What may seem like an overwhelming obstacle to you may seem like a pretty small task to someone else. Maybe it's facing a person who hurt you or that you hurt. Maybe it's speaking up for yourself in a situation where a loud and dominant person tries to speak for everyone. Maybe it's overcoming fear that has held you back for a long time. May not seem that hard to someone else. Whatever it is, I know that the challenges along your brick road are not the same as the ones on mine, and I know that some of them, even ones that might seem small to others, are not easy for me or for you. When we feel like we're truly lacking something, it's just not easy to believe otherwise. At the end of the long journey, Glenda, the good witch, tells Dorothy that she has always possessed what she needed. The slippers that were on her feet from the beginning of the journey would take her home. In the movie version, Dorothy is a bit bold and comes right out and asks Glenda in a rather scolding tone, if you remember, "Why didn't you tell me before?" And gently the good witch replies, "No one can tell you. You have to discover it for yourself." That, folks, is called spiritual enlightenment. The realization that hits Dorothy then, and how does she reply? "This is too wonderful to be true. I already have what I need." But the journey was not a waste of time. It was necessary for her to be able to see what she already had. And the journey was also so important for others. We often travel our journey along with others who are traveling theirs. We're not all looking for the same thing. We don't all feel lacking in the same way. But I think it's fair to say that we're all looking for something. We all have unresolved, if I only. There is, I think, a particularly Unitarian Universalist message to be found in that aspect of Baum's story. We're not all looking for the same thing. Call it a God, the kingdom within, call it home, self-acceptance, values, better self, whatever you want to call it. The message that comes to each of us from this story is that it often takes a journey to find what we're looking for, and that we can be helped on that journey by traveling with other seekers. That's what this religious community is or should be all about. Whether you're Dorothy or a scarecrow or the Tin Man or the cowardly lion, we will walk the yellow brick road together with you. And by walking it together, there is a better chance that you can meet the challenges along the way and ultimately come to find what you need, and you what you need, and you what you need, each what we need. And that's where we come to the great irony in the story. Often when you arrive, you are at home again for the first time. Our seeking so often leads us to discover that we had what we needed within us all along, but it took a great journey for us to see that. T.S. Eliot expressed it this way: "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploration will be to arrive where we started and know the finding the values that are important to live your life, about finding the truth that will be your guide, the beliefs that will sustain you, and the virtues that will empower you. And when you do, I suspect you'll repeat the same words that Dorothy does over and over again at the end. There's no place like home. There's no place like home." Well, thanks for revisiting that great story again and allowing me to share my interpretation. But you know, there are no really original ideas, and when the idea came for me to preach a sermon on the Wizard of Oz, I thought I was pretty creative. And then, as I mentioned to you already, I found lots of sermons of all kinds, from all kinds of faith traditions, that found, some to me, crazy meanings in the story. But I took some consolation when I did that research a while back that I didn't find one from a Unitarian Universalist. Then I looked again last week. There was one from a wonderful colleague named Laura Hockey, who I know, but I don't know personally. And you know, we had some of the same ideas, but many different ones too. So is Unitarian Universalism. But I thought these words near the end of her sermon would make a wonderful benediction for us this morning. She writes, "Dorothy did not need to go anywhere. All she needed to do was wake up. May we wake up. May we go within to find that all that we need to help ourselves and to help others. And may we make friends along the way. And may we know that we are already living over the rainbow if we just make it so. Blessed be, and amen." We now extinguish the flame that we kindled at the start of our service, but not the light, not that light that burns within us, not that little light of mine and of yours, that we carry with us, perhaps, hopefully even fueled to burn brighter by our time together this morning, as a beacon to guide us as we follow our own yellow brick road.